have the list.
Okay, number one, make sure to talk about the product in any way that is a problem solver to the user.
Okay, so this product is actually not to be sold in the copy as a product, but it should be sold as a problem solver, which means we are going to talk more about the problem that this product is solving to the public, not actually the product to be sold as a product itself. So number two,
make sure you intrigue feelings in your copywriting.
Very good. So this is very important. If you are making a copy for a website or for a brand or whatever, you make sure there is much more feelings into it. You have to put feelings in a way that when people look at it, it can actually induce smile in their face. Okay? It can actually elevate their personality. It can actually make them feel better than they felt before they started reading that particular copy. So your copy should be very, very strategic, hitting the point of feelings and making sure they touch them psychologically and emotionally to make it easier for them to relate with what you are saying. So that's the feeling aspect of this. Number three,
make sure your content is relatable to the user.
Very good.
Make sure your content is relatable to the user.
Very good. So the content you're writing to the public, it must have to have something to do with people who are reading it. So you're not going to be selling a body cream, feminist body cream, to a masculine. You're not going to selling a weight loss to somebody weight loss product to somebody who is slim tea to somebody who is slim. You wouldn't be selling selling a book, like set of book. You want to sell writing book in places like the village or stuff like that. You are not going to actually make more sell. So you have to actually sell the product to people who actually are concerned about it. And since it is an online content and a copy for a website where you don't even know who is actually visiting, you must have to make sure that anyone who is visiting this platform must have to understand, must have to have this feeling that this product is actually for me. Because if you are selling a product to somebody and you're actually talking about that product as something that they can relate to, it's easy for them to purchase from you. So if you're coming to sell a product to me and you are telling me some things that I know about that product, you are making it relatable. So it's not like I am not aware of what you're saying. I understand what you're saying and it's easier for me to buy from you. Can go to the number 4.
Okay, number 4. Make sure that your copy has exceptional statements.
So exceptional statements are statements that makes your copy more intriguing. You see, those statements are statements that plugs into the mind of the reader to make them take action. Exceptional statements are also statements that makes your product look totally different from other products that are related to it. So in case now we are selling a web design product, what statement do we use for that web design course that actually make it different from other web design courses? What are the punchline? What are the loopholes we saw from other brands that we actually capitalize on to make our copy? So whenever you're making a copy, you look at other brands that relate to that particular brand and observe what they are missing. Those are the things you are going to plug into the copy of your current brand to make them sell. And to make people sell, or to make people you are writing a copy sell, you have to make sure that the content type you are writing is actually opposite to what the other brands are talking about. Opposite, it doesn't mean in the sense of making it totally opposite. No. Making your objective very known to the public in a way that it separates you from these other brands. You can go to number 5.
Okay, number 5. Always make sure to review your content before publishing.
Very important. So review of content is important. Is that the one I talked about setting it for audition?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So it's important when you finish your copy. This is how you know whether your copy is it not the one I talked about, copy being childish?
No. Yes.
No. But 6.
Okay. So repeat this topic now.
Make sure you review your content before publishing.
Okay, very good. So review your content is observe your content very carefully. Know exactly what is missing, what to remove, what to add, So you don't just make a content and then push it out in the public. If that is how we make content, like the one I gave you as instance, if we make content like this and push it out, you are going to make mistake because you might hurt people. You might say some things that people wouldn't like to hear. Because when you are making a copy, there are many things going on in your head because this in is copywriting is too broad. These are many statements and many words running in your brain. So you cannot be perfect. So I would suggest you give it 2-3 days. Go through it over and over and over again. That's what you are paid for. And make sure that the content is clearly in line with the brand language, clearly in line with the brand objective before what? Pushing it out for your clients. Number 6.
Whenever you're making a copy, make sure it doesn't point against any culture or religion, gender, location, etc. Okay,
fine. Whenever you're making a copy, don't make a copy against female, body shame people who are fat, or talk about a religion different. Like I gave an example, some people who are actually graphic designers who use words like Jesus paid for your sin, you have to pay for your design. So stuff like that are provoking. They are provocative. They actually make people feel uncomfortable about you because people who might be buying from you, you can't decide whether it's a Christian buying or a Muslim or a Hindu or a Buddhist, anything at all. Anybody can buy from you since you are selling to the public. So you don't need to actually bring in what religion difference whenever you are making a copy. Your copy must be straight in line, talking about what you are able to provide for the public or for your users. It's not actually talking against any particular parties, okay? And it should be your copy should be totally politically exempted. There shouldn't be any political contents in your copy. That's the one I didn't remember to mention. So make sure your copy is not pointing against any culture, it's not pointing against any gender, it's not pointing against any religion, it's not pointing against any country. Okay? Your copy should be well structured on the language, the objective, and the concept that the brand is about. And go to number 7.
Number 7, that is the last. Make sure your copy is not childish.
Very good.
Your content is not childish.
Very good. And I stated how you can know if your content is childish or not. If your content itself is childish, the only way to know is when you present it to somebody who have been there before you, who have been in the game before you, possibly your mentor in that field, who is going to review your content carefully and remove some things. That's what's called auditing. Remove some things that are not necessary and leave the things that are necessary. Now, after they are done removing it, that is how to make your content not feel childish. But that is not how to know whether your content is childish or not. How you know your content is childish or not is by bringing these two contents, the one that is audited and the one that is not audited. Bringing two of them together, observing them close, face to face, and finding out those things that your mentor removed or the person who reviewed this content or audited this content removed, what they edited out of it and what they added. Look at those things line after line. Read them word after word. It might take you time, but you have to do it. When you do it like this, observe them carefully. You see that you are going to find out some missing links or some things that you are actually doing wrong. So in cases like this, that you wrote something that you think it is supposed to be there and they removed it, you have to ask the question that, sir, why did you remove this? Or ma, why did you remove this? And then they can explain to you the reason why it is not necessary there. Some of the content type that you might put in or plug into your particular content material might not be practically okay for that particular idea. It's not okay in that particular context. See, in content writing, there's what we call context in writing. Context in writing, it means there are words that you may use here, you may not use here. That same word you don't use here, you may use it in another place. That's context. There is a context that a particular statement might not be very, very appealing. You remove it. You must not use those contents, your statement everywhere. You remove it and find a more suitable environment for you to actually fit it in. I think that draws us to the end of this lesson. If you have any question, you can raise that very quickly.